Hello gang, Paul here at the ranch. The other day I did a small video on reloading my favorite 308, and I thought I'd share some ideas, some thoughts around reloading, some of the equipment that I really like and have had a lot of good luck with in terms of performance, and I'd like to share some of that. But the first thing I'd like to do, if you're considering getting into reloading, a little overwhelmed with the process, but you're shooting a lot more and you'd like to tailor your loads. Reloading is not just for so you can build something and save money, although you can save money. It's really about tailoring the shooting experience to what you like. So one of the things I would strongly suggest getting, here's an example of the best guide out there. This is the Lyman guide. This is the 50th edition. I've had these Lyman guides now dating back for more than 25 years. When I'm reloading, this is essentially something that I can always track a load. What's the maximum case length? What's the minimum? What is the certification from SAMI that they're looking for in these loads? Another great tool, is the 9th edition of the Hornady Handbook Cartridge Reloading Manual. Again, a lot of my tabs for where I did some specialized notes that I had made. The last thing I wanted to mention is a journal. You should have a journal so that when you want to look at your favorite loads, you can write them all out. You can also lay out, your maximum. This is my 30-30 Winchester, maximum length. I can talk about the bullets I like. I like this Hornady FTX bullet. The overall length that I get is at 2 inches, 0.54. I like using the Hornady bullet, like I mentioned, and I can get a consistent, with 160 grains, consistent reloads out of it. So again, have yourself a quality manual before you start getting into reloading, because I think it's super important to start with a good foundation in terms of how you approach it. So let's start with the basics. The basics in reloading is a single stage press. Here's an example of a single stage press, and that's the RCBS Summit press. I love this press. I can tell you that this press has been with me now for more than 15 years. I had a single stage press prior to this from RCBS, which was the Rock Chucker, and that was fine. But I find this, it's just beefy. It reloads very consistently and concentrically, and I absolutely love this press. So anybody who's considering buying a press to make rifle bullets, I can tell you I strongly recommend an RCBS. The other one is this reloading station from RCBS. I can put in all my favorite loads, and it's also a backup. When I look at my favorite loads in my manual, I go here, and the exact same information is carried. I can program this manual, and then I can display, and this delivers that consistently within 1/10 of a grain on every single load that I have. And I can tell you that this is an invaluable tool, especially if you're going to spend an afternoon and load 20 or 40 bullets. Something like this is such a time saver from some of the trickle and some of the other methods of reloading and trying to get the grain weights right. This is a great tool, and I find it to be invaluable. Another part of reloading, and I'll move over here, and that's the shotgun. So this is it's a form of a single stage press, because every time you pull the lever, you have to actually move the shotgun shell around to these different stations. This is by a company called Mech. I do a lot of shotgun reloading, but if you're shooting in a trap league, or you're shooting in a skeet league, or even if you're shooting sporting clays, I like shooting lighter loads. So when I load my shotgun shells, I'll just grab an example of a shotgun shell that I recently reloaded, and I like using quality AA hulls so that I can reload these up to about 7 times before they get to a point where they'd be unsafe to reload. But you can see that you can make a really great load, and I make these lighter probably than some of the factory loads. And again, I rely on manuals from Lyman so that I'm safe in terms of the reloading that I use and the kind of shot that I use. In this particular, you can see these are shots are 7.5 is what I'm using in those, and that's the size of shot that I'm putting into my sporting clay loads. But this is something that will pay dividends for you. Mech presses are very consistent. Their customer service is quite good. And I think if you're a shotgunner and you want to get into shotgun reloading, you can't really go wrong with a mech press. And then over here to something that I think I'm super proud of in terms of, I spend a lot of time shooting handgun, both 9mm and 45, and a fair bit of 357 and some other calibers. But as it goes to reloading, I reload on these two presses. These are from a company called Dillon. Dillon Precision is extraordinary. And I can tell you, this is at the lowest end of the line. These are called the Square Deal Bs. I have one dedicated for 45 and one dedicated for 9mm. And I used to use one press and change out the plates, and you can put in for a different caliber, but I found that to be kind of, for me, difficult. So I always like to just have dedicated presses. So I have one for 45, one for 9mm, and these presses are phenomenal. I'll give you a story on the 9mm, which I reload quite a bit. You can see here the kind of rounds that I put out. But when you're shooting quite a bit, you need to have a mechanism for reloading consistently. And so for me, these Dillon Square Deal Bs, about 2 years ago though, I was having problems. It wasn't running as I'd like. And I sent it to Dillon, and they did a complete overhaul of my machine. And I can tell you, Dillon, if nothing, they are the best in this firearms industry. I would say they have the best customer service of any company I've ever worked with and for. I can tell you that if you have a spring that's out, if you have a bolt that breaks, anything, and they'll walk you through with tremendous detail. So I can't recommend a company and or a product more than Dillon. And I can tell you that I've been very, very happy with their product. And again, as I said before, I'm not paid for or endorsed by anything. These are just things that I've used that have done well by me through the years, and I find that they've been extremely helpful in my shooting. With that, I say, as always, be safe out there, and thanks for watching.